Welcome back to Inside Sources. Like I said on Friday, we will be concluding this conversation with retired AVM Shayo Olatunde, who has written a compelling book titled Beyond the Symptoms, Tackling the Roots of Nigeria's Insecurity. And like we said on Friday, he identified 5 vital root causes of insecurity in the country. And we were talking about that. Corruption, porous borders and ungoverned spaces, socio-political polarization, ineffective police force, and defective defense architecture. So, General, I remember that where we stopped on Friday was talking about, that corruption thing. I wanted to ask you one more question before we move to other things. There are many people who believe that among the people in our security architecture, military, police, and other things, that this insecurity has even become some kind of a racket, some kind of a industry, and that may itself, be part of the reasons why we are dealing with the problem.
Thank you very much. I think when you talk about corruption, it's a national problem. For instance, now, you see, and corruption is not just the mismanagement of funds.
True.
No. When you are doing the wrong thing, it is an aspect of corruption too. So not doing things the right way, mismanaging fund, nepotism, and all those things, they are elements of corruption. For instance, now, if you appoint someone, maybe not even in the military now, to a particular office that is not competent to hold, that cannot make meaningful impact.
That's corruption.
On this. It is. And you see it affecting even the military. So you see, corruption is everywhere in the country. And like I said on Friday, that the problem of corruption is that there is impunity. If it is corruption with impunity in our country, like I said in the book too, if there are stringent punishments that would discourage people from corrupt practices, things will improve within a short time.
Okay.
Because you have to count the cost before you go into those practices.
I like the counting cost part. Now, so let's go to the second point. I talked about porous borders and ungoverned spaces. On page 184, you said, porous borders constitute a principal component linked to several other major drivers of insecurity in Nigeria. These include expansive ungoverned spaces, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, proliferation of illicit drugs, and the influx of foreign terrorists into the country. He said, additionally, porous borders facilitate illicit war economies such as illegal mining, contribute to skyrocketing unemployment, and exacerbate socio-political instability in the Sahel region. The insecurity associated with ungoverned spaces, the ease of smuggling arms and narcotics, and the cross-border movement of terrorists are all direct outcomes of weak border management. So I'm going to ask you to dwell on this a little bit more. Against the background of something that just happened recently in the news, where we found out that some terrorists were actually able from Katsina State to go to Mecca. Terrorists went to Mecca, retired general, to go and do Hajj, and they managed to get out of the country through our airport borders, speak to what we are talking about here, and then came back. But thank God, they were arrested when they came back. So knowing all of these things, which is also what we're talking about, give us a little bit more insight into your own findings.
Okay. Now, this is very important. This aspect is very important. For instance, now, when you look at porous borders, porous border, through it, you have influx of drugs. You know that terrorists, insurgents, they live on drugs.
Yeah.
So they are able to bring in the drug.
Normal people can't do those things without
It's not. Yes.
Yeah.
So you are able to bring in the drugs easily. In fact, someone told me even recently that we are borderless. When I say porous border, I say we are borderless.
People just go in.
We don't have borders. So influx of drugs, influx of arms, influx of foreign fighters. Yes. And then you talk about illegally mine gold, that's illicit war economy,
Yeah.
they're able to take those things out of the country. Most of the time, it's true. They can't take them out of the country through our airports. It's through land borders.
Yeah.
They take them out, then to nearby country. From there, they can now go on whatever flight they want to go to. That's how they do it. So you see the multiple impacts of porous border on the country. And then because the border is porous, or we are borderless, foreign fighters are able to come to the country at will, and they seem to have, they are just everywhere now. Now, what happens is that even people that want to farm, they can farm. If you stop, actually, if you want to stop our problem now, one major aspect is to stop, to secure the border and prevent all these things from coming to the country. Now, I said all these problems, are exacerbated by the situation in the Sahel region.
Okay.
So the level of instability in the Sahel region is critical. And we seem not to be factoring that into our national security.
But many of the people that are involved in these problems are not ordinary Nigerians. They're not ordinary Nigerians. You know, there are very important, Senator Oshemole, actually said in the floor of the Senate, I don't know whether you heard it, that there are retired generals that are involved, especially in illegal mining. He said it on the floor of the House, Senator Oshemole. I don't know whether they've responded. The people that are causing this problem, AVM, they are not small people. How can we sort it out? Because of the size, the influence of some of the people perpetuating this thing.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. They are not bigger than the country. They are not bigger than the country. Once the presidency is ready, once there's strong political way to solve the problem, they have to sit up. Yes, otherwise, if they don't stop it, they are arrested and all that stuff. It's just strong political way. And it's getting to that stage now that the situation will make us to develop that.
Yeah.
Yes, we are going to develop that strong political way to address this problem. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country to live in. You can see what is happening now.
Yeah. I want you to talk about what you said about the Sri Lanka Civil War and lessons for Nigeria.
Okay.
Can you explain to our audience how Nigeria can benefit from how Sri Lanka, dealt with their own situation? Very briefly.
Okay. One major aspect is the issue of following merit. Merit in appointments. You see what they did? At the time, they realized that, look, we just have to follow merit. Competent, and there is no nepotism. They realized that they just have to put right peg and right O for them to get the results. That's one of the major lessons you could see. And again, the issue of border too, before they were able to really eliminate the tigers, say that they had
they were the criminals,
they were the insurgents in our own situation. Yeah. There was the sea blockade. Okay. It was that helped them, because that sea blockade prevented the tiger from getting supply. No route of escape.
And the tigers are their own insurgents.
Yes.
Like our own Boko Haram.
So it's one of the things. If you read that aspect, you see that I talk about, try to link it up with our porous border, that we need to do something about it. If you, for instance, if you secure the border now, they are cut off. Another thing you see in the book, we talk about siege operation. We must have the capabilities to conduct siege operation. Okay, they are in this particular forest. We lay siege on that technology on those forests to make sure that they are not able to go out and they are not able to get the supply from anywhere. In the sense that if they are trying to go out, they are neutralized because you are using technology. Unmanned aerial vehicle, things like that particularly. Then if you are getting some people are coming to supply them. By the time you lay siege, you weaken them.
Do you think that is what is happening in your state?
You see, the problems are...
Only local government, Iran Ogbomoso, the situation.
We don't even have adequate capability to do that. We don't have. We don't have. Sometimes people talk about the military, this military budget is this, is that. Okay, it's not realistic. Many people even talk about security without in-depth understanding of it. And they provide solution to government. I think it has come to a stage now where if you don't understand security.
Yeah.
You don't understand, you don't have in-depth understanding of what is happening in Nigeria now. Just keep quiet. Don't say things that may influence the government. Because now, if you look at it broadly now, what we need to do, we need to neutralize the insurgents and terrorists in the country. 2, we need to prevent external fighters, foreign fighters, from coming into the country, weapon and all those things. Then we need to now we have to be in charge of our environment. Everything is technology. If you are going to be in charge of our environment using technology, technology is the surest way of doing it. Not even increasing the number of troops. Yes, we need more troops, but laying emphasis on technology, appropriate technology, is going to cost a lot of money. Particularly when you consider the value of Naira today. These things, we are not producing them. We are going to break. What I said in the book is that, look, we can just go on government-to-government procurement. But there must be joint, when I was saying there was no jointness on Friday, there must be joint capability assessment.
Okay. We will come to jointness because I also wanted to talk quickly about the socio-political polarization and also talk about the police, and then we conclude with the jointness. And we still have just about 10 minutes. So when you were talking about the socio-political polarization, you were talking about the fact that there are a lot of divisions in the country. There's ethnic division, religious division, ideological division, division again around economic status, the haves and the have-nots, and all of those things. I think it's actually the third most potent cause of insecurity. I found that quite illuminating. Can you discuss that briefly?
Now, when you have this kind of war, when you are fighting this kind of war, the best approach to it globally is what they call whole of society approach.
So that everybody is fighting.
Everybody is
fighting on one side.
One side. So you are fighting, everybody is fighting on one side, so you are able to make progress. You are able to report, give credible information to the military. Yeah. So many things will be in place. Now, when you have this level of socio-political polarization, you cannot get that whole of society approach. And because of the level of polarization of the country socio-politically, you see that there's no national voice, there's no national resolve to solve our problems, critical problems. For instance, look at this Edda farmer's case. It's been lingering for many years now and costing wanton destruction of life and property. And there's no national voice. So because of that now, one major thing that must happen is that we must depolarize. The politician must depolarize the country. So, because let me say this thing. Because as long as the country remains so polarized like this,
polarized is divided.
You are going to be having dissidents, you'll be having fifth columnists, you'll be having saboteurs, you'll have people that may even be in the military and they are not actually with the military. So because they have different interests. So the best thing we can do urgently now is to make sure we galvanize the people together by start reducing the level of polarization. We have to depolarize.
It's a very
socio-politically. It's a major thing that must happen.
It's a major.
Because now, sir, have you noticed that anytime some people don't agree with the policies of the government, that will be heightening insecurity? Because there are sponsors. That will be heightening insecurity.
My own worry
is the problem is this: that it's like policymakers, decision makers, they don't consider the security implications of their decisions and policies. That's a major problem.
And honestly, this is where I draw the line and say that that's exactly why we have government. That is why government is in charge of the monopoly of the instrument of force and coercion. But anyway, very important point, and I actually find that illuminating because I also think that is an important point. I didn't know that it even rose in level of its potency. Because I see that it's your third point.
Whole of society approach.
Let's go to the fourth factor: ineffective police force. And I read what you said there. You talked about how Georgia, which used to be part of USSR, the whole USSR, how they resolved their police crisis. Of course, a lot of people who follow global affairs can also remember that. But you didn't mention anything about state police at all.
Okay. Okay, in the first part of the book,
Yeah.
state policing, community policing, treated.
Okay.
I treated them there.
Yeah. I want us to know whether you don't believe in state police.
It's not state police per se that will solve the problem. It's the quality of the police force. Now, we have to be very careful.
Is that
because they are
these are not just your views. These are empirical. That's the interesting about your book. They are empirical data. This is what you found out from
specialists, operational commanders, and things like that. Now, the issue is this. We have to be very careful now. People are talking to police, state police, state police. If you end up having state police of the same quality with what you have now, the same welfare, the same equipment, the same, it's going to worsen the security situation because the level of casualty on the part of the government will be increasing.
Yeah.
They will kill more people. So, like I said in the book, the problem of our police current is the ineffectiveness and corruption.
Yeah.
Just like the Georgia police.
Yeah.
And you see the method they use.
Yeah.
They use a big bang approach.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend that.
Of course.
A moderate,
I
recommended moderate big bang approach.
What I find interesting in your discussion of the police is on page 205, and I'm going to read what you said at the top of that page because, it's music to my ears because in my last edition, I did a take, the edition of last Sunday, where I said that, look, this opportunity that all of us seem to agree on state police is actually an opportunity for us to reform the entire police. It's an opportunity to change the perception. This is what you said, and I said, excellent point. That's what I put there. I said, the current state of policing in Nigeria represents both a crisis and an opportunity. The crisis lies in the growing incapacity of the Nigerian police force to safeguard citizens and uphold justice. The opportunity lies in the potential to reimagine policing as a cornerstone of national development. That was the point I was laboring to make last week. Exactly. So when I read it in your book, I said, it's good that, we have a lot of people thinking along this side. So I wanted to ask you, now that all of us have agreed on this state policing thing, what do you think has to happen as we are going forward so that we can use this crisis, like you said, like I agree, as an opportunity? How should we manage it?
So one, if you're going to have, we are going to look at the entire police force, including the one we are planning to have now, that is state police.
Right.
We have to first of all identify the problem, the core problem of the existing police force, address them, and then make sure that even if we are going to have state police, we don't allow any of those things to come into place. But we seem to just be looking at let's have state police. Police. No. See their welfare, their equipment, so many things. Major is a major factor.
Let's move on to the final point because of our time. Okay. Defective defense architecture. Now, this is where I want you to, explain to us very, very well, what that means. One of the things that you said in your book is that we should convert the defense headquarters, the chief of defense staff to like the chairman of the joint chiefs of staff, just like the Americans do. Tell us, AVM retired, the practical things that must happen, some of the recommendations that you included. Talk about it now.
Okay, the issue is this. There are some documents, I don't need to mention them. Mm-hmm. There are some documents including the Constitution of the country.
Yeah.
And Armed Forces Act.
Yeah.
There's also defense, National Defense Policy.
Right.
3 fundamental documents. National Defense Policy encourages jointness, but the others do not. The 2 others do not encourage.
The Constitution and the Act doesn't encourage jointness.
Yes.
And
they are not.
Quickly define that jointness.
Maybe jointness. Maybe what do I call it? Maybe we say encourage is the right word.
I think you should define that jointness quickly in 2 or 3 sentences.
Okay.
So that people can understand it.
Okay. In the way we can understand is that jointness will mean that the commander in charge of a particular operation has all the elements, whether it is land, it is air, it is maritime, it is space, whatever element you require, under his command.
Okay, so
he is in charge.
So let me explain it to you how that sounds, in the hair of somebody who's not a military man, so that you know whether that's what you're saying.
Okay.
So it means that, for instance, we have Operation Lafia Dole. that whoever is the commander of Operation Lafia Dole must have command over air, that is Air Force element.
Deploy for that operation.
Deploy for that operation.
Yeah.
Must have command over if there are naval elements, and of course the land element, that every element of the military force
that he will
must
require to fight.
That. Now, so that means that is not happening right now.
It's not like that. It's not entirely like that. What I'm saying now is that, look, the services should be saddled with the responsibility of training and maintaining their assets.
So the Army service, the Air Force service, the Naval service should be saddled with training and maintenance. Okay.
Then, when there is an operation, the Chief of Defense Staff, that I said, should be the primary advisor to the president.
Yeah.
So, who is the chairman? So, he will appoint somebody, the person that will be in charge of that operation. So, that man is not reporting to any of the service chiefs.
He's reporting to
him,
to the chairman,
and the Minister of Defense. That's all. So that's how it's supposed to be. So that's the jointness we are looking at.
This is very interesting.
If you don't do that, it's not that we want to conduct operation. We call the Air Force in. No, you remember that one story on the social media that went viral and very ridiculous like that, where this terrorist they bombed our MRAPs.
Yeah.
And then there was this story that they called in Air Force, and the weather was bad. In the first instance, the planning and the execution of that operation will have been decided by the joint forces under the Joint Task Force Commander. They would decide, they will have checked the weather where to should go operation and things like that. So they plan who will go in first. Air Force will go in first, or Air Force will do this. So from the beginning, it's supposed to be like that. We did a retreat in Asaba during Oga Leo Irabo's tenure as the CDS. And that was the conclusion, that there should be jointness. That was the recommendation. But it's not yet. It has not been executed yet. We have to do that. And you see in the book, I said that the president, because we're fighting one, we're losing life, and this thing, the thing is becoming messier by the day. So it should be a matter of executive order
from the president.
The president.
And then maybe
they are reviewing those two books.
Yeah.
Executive orders should be released, and that will say that, okay, once they finish reviewing those other two books, then it will cease to be enforced. That's executive order.
Yeah.
But executive order now to restructure our defense forces.
And the two books that he is referring to is the Constitution and the Armed Forces Act.
Yes. Now, for instance, if people, one of the things that can boost the morale of ground forces, the army, is when you have air power. Air will go in first.
Yeah.
With air power is with you. It boosts your morale.
Yeah.
So you are able to perform better. We have seen these labs, and we are finding it. So I know this president can do it.
Yeah.
Just issue executive order, and we change everything.
This is
so we become more effective.
Yeah.
So it can even the theater can now be it can be Northeast theater, Northwest theater, this theater, and then based on this thing, and you determine, you do, like I talk about capability assessment, you look at what has been happening, what is happening now, and what may happen based on the way we are going, determine the capabilities you need, and then get those capabilities. It can be government to government basis, and then put them under the theater commander. Let him have all it takes to do the work.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. We've done almost 45 minutes all together Friday and Sunday about this. And it's quite exciting, what you have written in this book. And the reason why we have also brought you here is because we believe that this is an empirical work. So you're not just talking about your own ideas or your own opinion. This is something that was gotten from research and survey of the critical people. And we will continue to talk about it and push it. Thank you so much for your service to our country. Thank you for your patriotism, and thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very grateful, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.